Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm here in the alley of alleys, and today we're going to be talking about finding your own pushing style. Now, yesterday's video I mentioned about, actually no, this probably won't be yesterday's video because of the 100th post on Instagram. Today we're going to be talking about, whatever day I upload this. Today we're going to be doing, oh, is the camera good? It's wonky. Why is it wonky? So whatever day I end up uploading this, I'm going to be talking about how to find and develop your pushing style. Now, this is something that I've said in so many different videos that I haven't done before. I especially spoke about it yesterday, or whatever day, I keep on saying yesterday for me. I keep on talking about having your own unique pushing styles. So for example, mine is quite an athletic one, I think, quite zippy, quite twisty, turny, a lot of using objects and things to get around. But other people may just have a bit more of a basic, just push, turn, that kind of thing. So here is like a bit of a list of things to consider when coming up with your pushing style. And the first one is obviously your movement and your balance. So depending on how much you can move your body will kind of depend on if you go for a bit more of a regular pushing style or a bit more of a out there, developing your own style. Now, this also isn't to say that every pushing style is healthy, because I know a lot of different pushing styles can also affect different muscles in different ways, so just be aware of that. So you don't want to put too much strain on individual muscles. But I also think that it's kind of like walking, where there is the basic way of walking, there's the medically suggested way, and then there's the way that you do it individually. There's always that slight variation on, like, for example, how big your steps are, how deep your pushes go, how much you lean forwards for it. Do you do that, or do you just do that? Do you, when you're turning, do you do that, or do you just one-handed, crazy shit? There's all these different things that you can pick up along the way that I think a lot of people don't consider in their pushing. So obviously this isn't to say that just because a random dude on the internet told you that you can do this doesn't mean that you necessarily should. Okay, I need to make that clear. So I'm just going to talk about my pushing style, right? So for me, I have quite good upper body strength, relatively good balance when it comes to leaning and things, especially when I haven't got something going up my anus. I would recommend for someone with me, where I can lean forwards quite a bit, I can lean to either side, I can lean forwards, back, forwards. How many times am I going to say forwards? But yeah, I think the movement that I do have does mean that I can get away with a bit more of a weirder pushing style, where as I push along, my arms go all the way around the wheel, pretty much. Some people may just do shorter things, but I tend to use as much of the wheel as I can. I drop my elbows. Some people do a bit more of a bulkier, that kind of push, but I wouldn't really recommend that. I do a bit more of a in between. I'm not doing it so my shoulders are touching, but I am also leaving a bit of a gap, so I think that is probably best for me. But I know some people will go with a bit more of a medically recommended version, where it's literally just slight leans. In fact, I'll turn myself to the side so you can see a bit better, but it's just small things, because they either don't have much core, or they don't want to lean forwards all the way and lean back up. With me, I think I do relatively active movements, I guess. you know, for example, when I'm turning, I'll do quite quick, you know, sharp turns, I'd say. But I know some people will do a bit of a turning circle, you know, maybe do that. And that's down to also your environment, I think. Some people will prefer to do certain things in certain areas if you've got more space. But generally, I think, you know, if I'm doing a sharp turn, I'll grab my wheels and, you know, do a quick spin. But it's not for everyone, you know. I think as well, when I use my wheelchair in a space that has a lot of enclosed areas or like a lot of things I can grab onto, I do tend to change the way I push as well, because I will use objects a lot more, and I don't know why, like, it's not as efficient as it could be, you know. If I just took more time into pushing, I know it would probably be better in the long run. But I do also find that, like, whipping myself off of objects, like I did an entire video about before, is also slightly better. So I think when you're pushing, just consider if you want to try using different techniques. Obviously, I'm quite muscly, but also quite skinny as well. So for some people, you may just want to stick with more basic, just maybe even lean in. You know, I know a lot of people that don't do a lot of the more leany things. So what I want to do for this last bit is just kind of talk about other body types and how you may want to use different pushing styles. So if you've got a lot more strength, then you may want to go with a bit more of a leany push, otherwise you end up doing a lot of back wheel balancing accidentally, you know, because if you put a lot of power into the wheels, your front wheels will tip back. Also, your wheelchair plays quite a big part in it. If you've got a lot of camber, which, in case you don't know, is the angle your wheels point down at. So, for example, they don't point straight down, they don't point slightly in. Usually they point slightly outwards, so it's like that. And I think if you've got more camber, it does mean that you can turn quicker. It means you're more stable, you're less likely to tip over. But it does also mean that you can't always use your environment to the best of its ability, if you want to do that. So I think considering your wheelchair, how tippy it is, also kind of depends. If you're doing a lot of leaning forwards and leaning back, I can control wheelies if they happen accidentally, so I'm normally pretty good at controlling it if it does go wrong. But I also know a lot of people can't, so, you know, considering if you are pushing, if you're going to be doing a lot of powerful pushes, maybe see if you can have your wheel axle moved slightly behind you. So if I go back here, so you can see the wheels, right? Here's the button. This is just in front of me, so you see here, can you imagine like a line going down from my butt, which is about here? Imagine a line going down my back, right, all the way down. See how it's just behind my wheel axles? Some people have their axles moved further back, so it's more stable for them. Makes it harder to do backward balances, but it does mean that you're more stable if you want to do a lot more in your chair. So that's another thing is... And finally, I just want to leave you guys with a bit of a message when it comes to coming up with your own pushing style, and that is trying to decide if it's going to be efficient. You know, that is probably one of the most important things, is if you're using a muscle quite a lot, it can get worn down. It does mean that if you get injured, it does make it a lot harder to push. How safe the pushing style is in general, you know, if you use a style that uses a lot of like whipping off of things, you know, grabbing onto shit and yanking yourself along, it does mean that you can possibly crash into more things. So just be aware of that, and make sure that if you're going to be going through like tight gaps, that you can do it safely, but also at speed. If you want to go fast, you know, some people don't want to go that fast and just want to go a normal pushing speed. And I think if you are using a style that you don't like at the moment, or you think can be improved, make changes to it, even if it's just for a couple of days. I think at least trying out different things, making sure that what you're doing suits where you are. For example, you don't want to be doing a lot of fast movements and like moving yourself forwards and backwards if you're on sand, but you know, if it's on a concrete road or like footpath, then you know, go for it. You can do quite a lot there. You're not going to be stopped suddenly by sand. I think that is going to be it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, all of that usual stuff. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and bye.